This video recording is intended for Cirrus Data Professional Services, partners, or Azure customers to show how they can protect their data using Cirrus Data Cloud's Platform as a Service. Cirrus Migrate Cloud is a patented solution created to help customers move data from anywhere to anywhere. As a cloud-native migration as a service solution, Cirrus Migrate Cloud enables users to easily migrate from any storage on any platform at any location to Microsoft Azure storage. A PowerShell terminal is configured to access the SQL database running on-premises. Open Computer Manager and click to open the disk management. Observe that there are two disks, a 2 gig database disk and the associated 1 gig log. Both disks are formatted and have live data on them. This is just a simple example. In real-world customer environments, these disks would obviously be larger and have many more records than shown here. On the remote desktop at the Windows on-premises host, check that the source hosts have access to the SQL database to be migrated. Then open and connect to the SQL Server Manager and start the SQL database. Use Object Explorer to open the SQL Server and select Databases, and see the birthday database, which is currently offline. Right-click to open the menu and select Tasks, Bring Online. A new window is displayed confirming that the SQL database is online. We can open and manage the database. Clicking here, we can see there are two fields in the database, name and birthday date. Right-click on it and select the top 1,000 rows and edit the first 2,000 rows. We'll open this table and observe that there are 7 items. We'll add one more item emulating database operations. Click Close to push the changes to the database. Select the last 1,000 records and notice that the new record is included. Next, we'll open network ports on the Azure VM to allow sending of data from the on-premises host to the Azure VM. Open both RDPs to the hosts and open the PowerShell windows as administrator on both. Go to the CDC portal and click on the My Projects tab on the left. Here is the Cirrus Data Cloud portal. Cirrus Migrate Cloud is a data management as a service app running in Cirrus Data Cloud that allows you to migrate and/or protect any block storage anywhere. What we can see here is the name of the project, the owner, and basic information on the project. Go to the CDC portal and open the tab Migration Hosts and click on Deploy Cirrus Migrate Cloud button and click on the Windows tab. Copy the command into both PowerShell windows and run it in each. This will install the CMC agents on the on-premises hosts and in the Azure Cloud VM. This migration will move the 2 gig data and 1 gig log fiber channel disks from the Cirrus Data Lab to the Azure UltraDisk storage while the source disks are running the SQL database application. Browse back to the CDC portal and see that the 2 hosts have been registered with the project and deployed. Once the CMC agents are installed, they'll appear in the CDC portal and can be connected so that data blocks can be migrated from the source disk to the UltraDisks in the Azure Cloud. Now we're going to connect the 2 hosts by clicking the H2H Connection tab in the web console. Once connected, either side can send data to the other. In this demo, we'll use the on-premises host agent as the source and the Azure Cloud VM host agent as the connection destination. Here, the destination address is the IP address of the VM in the Azure Cloud. We already created and configured the integration for Azure Cloud. Now click New Migration Session and open up the Migration Sessions page. Since there are no migration sessions yet, we'll use the red button to create a new one. Click the New Migration Session button. Select the on-premises Windows host as the source and click Continue. Select Remote Migration and select the destination, which is the Azure Windows VM. Select the option to migrate data volumes only and click Continue. Since there's no destination volume yet, we'll use the Auto Allocation for Azure plugin to create the destination volumes. Select the devices to be migrated to Azure. Then click the Auto Allocate Destination red button at the top right and select UltraDisk Storage from the drop-down. Once all the remediation steps have been completed, a pair of new disks, size 4 gig, which is the minimum in Azure, appear in the Computer Management window in the RDP terminal at the Azure Windows VM. We'll be migrating the source 2 gig and 1 gig fiber channel disks to a pair of UltraDisks on Azure. Click Continue. Now the newly created destination managed disks are discovered automatically and are already paired with the source fiber channel disks. Now we're going to continue creating the migration session by entering some information, a short description of the migration, and periodic sync interval, and the impact level. IQOS is Cirrus Data's intelligent quality of service. It automatically throttles back the migration when the source volume becomes more active and opens it up when the source volume is less active. We'll select the appropriate IQOS level for this migration. We can choose from minimum, moderate, aggressive, and relentless. For this migration, we'll pick aggressive. Click Create Session to start the migration. Here's the dashboard to let you know how the migration is going. We can observe the migration progress and host details. We can see changes, migration rate, and the remaining data to synchronize. The migration session is created and is started. After the initial sync is complete, every 5 minutes, CMC will perform a resync. To see the dirty blocks during this migration, we can click the Change Data map. Observe that the dirty blocks are tracked and shown here as blue dots as we add database records. Next, we'll move to finalize the migration. The next step is to trigger cMotion. cMotion is used to swing the workload over from the original source fiber channel disk on premises to the new destination VM disk in Azure. For the case of remote migration, where there's a new host VM at the cloud, pre-configured to run the migrated workload, cMotion effectively eliminates the final synchronization. To prepare for the final cutover, cMotion can be triggered. Now we're going to complete the final cutover. To finalize cutover, we stop the database at the source Windows host. Then we open Session Actions and select Finalize Cutover. Note that this step is immediate and there is no final sync necessary because cMotion already ensured that all the updates were redirected to the destination. Open the SQL database window on premises and right-click BirthdayDB and select Tasks, then click on Take Offline. Next, open the Computer Management and Disk Management and take both the data and log disks offline. At the Azure VM, open Computer Management and Disk Management and click Action and Rescan Disks. Once the finalized cutover has completed, open Disk Management and Computer Manager at the Azure VM and rescan all the devices. 2 new 4 gig disks, one with a 2 gig partition and one with a 1 gig partition, are detected. We can open the SQL database at the Azure VM RDP on the migrated disks. Right-click on Databases and select Attach. On the new window, click Add. Refresh the view and select and click Data on the left side and select the BirthdayDB MDF to see that there are 2 items, data and log file types. Both disks have letter F, but the log file is not on this disk. Click the 3 dots on the right of the log and select Disk E. Now we go back to the SQL database, and we can see that the records are the same as the source SQL database. Finally, we can complete the session to end the migration. Migration has now completed. What we've just shown is that you can move block workloads from any on-premises block source to Microsoft Azure Managed Disk while running with no application impact, fully data reduced and encrypted, and with minimal application downtime at final cutover. This patented solution is key for everyone moving to Azure.